I hadn't been home in almost 3 years when my sister Layla invited me to her engagement dinner. The message was polite, carefully worded, and a little too cheerful. Family means everything, she wrote. I read it twice and knew what it really meant. Come and see how well I am doing. Layla had always been that way. Growing up, she was the star-top grades, perfect hair, friends who laughed too loudly at her jokes. I was the quiet one who left town early, took odd jobs, and didn't post my life online. In her world, that translated into failure. The dinner was at an upscale restaurant downtown, all warm lights and polished wood. When I walked in, Layla spotted me immediately. Her smile froze for half a second before she recovered. "Wow," she said loudly, standing to hug me. "You actually came." Several heads turned. I felt the old familiar tightening in my chest, but I smiled back. "You invited me." She guided me to the table like I was a guest attraction. "Everyone, this is my older sibling," she announced. "They're between careers." A couple of polite chuckles followed. I caught snippets between careers, still figuring things out, you know how that goes? Layla beamed, enjoying every second. Then she squeezed my arm and leaned in. "Don't worry," she whispered. "Tonight's about me." Her fiancé stood to greet me. Tall, composed, expensive suit. The kind of man who looked like he'd never been late on a bill in his life. "This is Daniel," Layla said proudly. "Corporate attorney." Daniel extended his hand. I took it and felt him stiffen. His eyes didn't just look at me. They recognized me. For a moment he said nothing. Then his grip tightened slightly. "I know you," he said slowly. The table went quiet. Layla laughed nervously. "Oh my God, you've met before?" Daniel didn't look at her. His gaze stayed on me. "From court." A hush fell over the table, sharp and sudden. I felt every eye turn toward me. Layla's smile wavered. "Court?" She repeated, too brightly. "As in jury duty?" "Please tell me you mean jury duty." Daniel finally let go of my hand. "No," he said. "As in testimony." Someone cleared their throat. A fork clinked against a plate. Layla turned to me, her voice dropping. "What is he talking about?" I could have deflected. I could have joked. But something about the way she paraded me moments earlier, the way she decided my story for me, made me tired. "I was a witness," I said calmly. Daniel nodded. "Key witness," he added. "Federal case. 2 years ago." The color drained from Layla's face. "Federal what?" Daniel pulled out his chair but didn't sit. "You testified against a human trafficking ring," he said to me. "You worked logistics at the warehouse they were using. When you realized what was happening, you documented everything and turned it over." The silence was absolute now. Layla stared at me like she was seeing a stranger. "You told me you were doing warehouse work because you had no other options." "That was true," I said. "At first," Daniel continued, his voice steady. "Your testimony put 3 people away, including the owner. You stayed on the stand for 8 hours, while their lawyers tried to tear you apart." He looked at me with something like respect. "You never broke," someone at the table whispered. "Oh my God." Layla's mouth opened, then closed. Why didn't you tell me?" I met her eyes. "You never asked. You just assumed." Daniel finally sat down, shaking his head slightly. "When I saw your face just now, it hit me. You don't forget someone who walks into court knowing their life might change forever, and does it anyway." Layla's friends shifted uncomfortably. The earlier smirks were gone, replaced by awkward glances and sudden fascination with their menus. "I thought you were ashamed of me," Layla said softly. I exhaled. "I thought you were embarrassed of me." She looked down at the tablecloth, twisting her napkin. For once, she didn't have a clever response. Daniel broke the tension gently. "For what it's worth," he said, "I'm honored to meet you again. That case is one of the reasons I went into public interest work." Layla looked up sharply. "Public interest?" He nodded. "I'm leaving corporate next year." The irony hung in the air. Dinner continued quieter this time. No more jokes at my expense. No more introductions that shrank me down to something convenient. Layla kept glancing at me like she was recalibrating a picture she'd had wrong for years. As we stood to leave, she pulled me aside. "I'm sorry," she said. "I tried to make you look small because I didn't understand you." I smiled, not unkindly. "You don't have to understand me," I said. "Just don't write my story for me." She nodded, eyes shining. For the first time, it felt real. As I walked out into the cool night air, Daniel caught up to me. "Court recognizes courage," he said. Even when families don't. I thought about that as I headed home, about how quiet lives can carry the loudest truths. And how sometimes the courtroom remembers you long before your own sister does. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to like and subscribe for more.